The box office predictions for Captain America Brave New World have come out, and let me just say, they are not looking too good.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast and consider becoming a channel member. As Disney continues to try to push woke DEI initiatives into their films, they just saw what used to be really good, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, just started to collapse ever since one of their stars, the guy who was supposed to be the new big baddie, he got caught up in this huge scandal that caused his upcoming film where he would take on the entirety of the Avengers to just drop. We saw dismal failures like The Eternals, like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and Disney was kind of banking on bringing fans back with Captain America Brave New World. However, rumors of booing test audiences and fan sort of hesitation and exhaustion by these constant paint by numbers films has led them to do several reshoots of Captain America Brave New World, which now stars Anthony Mackie, who has retired his Falcon identity and has taken up the shield as the new Captain America. Initially, I was actually kind of okay with this because I understand in sort of a movie universe, it might be more important to pass on these legacy characters. I prefer the original characters to keep their identities, but I get it. You either have to recast or you have to find a suitable successor. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show on Disney Plus set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, totally destroyed any excitement I had about Falcon taking over the role. I knew that Winter Soldier wasn't going to take over as Captain America because of seeing Avengers Endgame and them making it pretty clear he was going to stay the Winter Soldier. And then, of course, with the Thunderbolts trailer, we know that that is their stance right now. With all these reshoots, bringing in new actors in various points of the film, and changing the villain, I think 3 times now, and now adding Red Hulk to the mix, everyone seems a little bit off. With all of this is going on, then the box office predictions came out, and let me tell you, it looks pretty abysmal. This is according to Fandom Pulse. Early box office predictions for Captain America Brave New World have arrived, and it is not looking good and show just how far the Marvel Cinematic Universe has fallen since Avengers Endgame. Sean Robbins at Box Office Theory shared that he predicts Captain America Brave New World will only gross between 80 million and 107 million in its opening domestic box office. He ultimately settled on 96 million. As for the film's entire run at the domestic box office, he predicted it will gross between 195 million and 280 million. He ultimately predicted 240 million. Wow, he's optimistic. While these are Robin's early predictions, he did hedge in his write-up, noting ultimately late-stage marketing reviews and early screening reception will be very important for Brave New World. The MCU has seen its share of ups and downs in recent years, with general sentiment highlighting that the franchise doesn't, at the moment, have the kind of clear trajectory which traditionally kept casual moviegoers coming back to each character's series of films in between event level stories. However, he does know that if the film does get good word of mouth, it could do very well given it does not have any real direct competition. To put in perspective how bad the opening weekend and overall domestic totals are, the most recent Captain America film, Captain America Civil War, which released in 2016, had an opening weekend of 179.1 million and went on to earn 408 million domestically. That means without even factoring in inflation, the film is predicted to perform 46% worse than Civil War in its opening weekend and 41% in its total domestic haul. If we look back further to 2014, Captain America the Winter Soldier had an opening weekend of 95 million and a total domestic gross of 259.7 million. Factoring in inflation, that's a 126.6 million opening weekend and 356 million domestic total. In fact, the film is pacing for one of the worst opening weekends in MCU history. The current record belongs to the Marvels, which had an opening weekend of 46.1 million. Other poor opening weekends include 2008's The Incredible Hulk, 55.4 million, 2015's Ant-Man, 57.2 million, Captain America: The First Avenger, 65 million, Thor, 65.7 million, Eternals, 71.2 million, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, 75.3 million, Ant-Man and the Wasp, 75.8 million, and Black Widow, 80.3 million. It's looking like it might have even a worse opening weekend than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which had an opening weekend of 106.1 million. What do you make of these early box office predictions for Captain America: Brave New World? Okay, so I want you to go over to fandompulse.com or fandompulse.substack.com. Check it out. They've got a lot of great pop culture and cinema news that you don't want to miss. Okay, so what does this mean looking at this from above? For one thing, I don't think superhero fatigue is actually a thing. And some people have pointed that yes, it is a thing. Most movie trends tend to last 10 years. The superhero trend lasted 11 with Avengers Endgame, pulling it into 11. But you look at other trends like westerns and musicals when studios were just pumping them all out. Or if you were growing up in the early 2000s, like I did, it was all these trashy, raunchy comedies and parody films. Studios were pumping them out like they were going out of style, and eventually they did. Now, superhero, though, or a superhero film is a little bit different because it has connections to the broader sci fi genre. No one ever gets tired of sci fi per se, unless you just didn't like the genre to begin with. I actually believe that it's just bad superhero fatigue. So we've seen this with Captain Marvel, with the Marvels, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. However, Deadpool and Wolverine did really good at the box office. Venom: The Last Dance, which of course all my other fellow YouTubers love to just bash. I actually enjoyed Venom: The Last Dance. You can go read my review at studiojakemedia.com. But also, with Morbius and Madam Web and The Flash, all these terrible movies, audiences just weren't ready. And so even when just kind of an okay film, like say Black Adam comes along, then audience are like, it's not worth it. But when they think it's actually good, like with Venom: The Last Dance or with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, audiences tend to show up in the second week out of curiosity and good word of mouth. Will this happen with Captain America: Brave New World, where people won't go because of all the behind the scenes drama, all the constant reshoots, the rumors of poor test screening, and whatnot? Will they not show up for week one, but then the people who do go see it in week one convince them, hey, no, this is actually a pretty good movie, and then it explodes on week two, like what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Will that happen here? I have to be honest with you, I don't think so. I think Disney's reputation is very poor right now, and how they have mismanaged the post in-game MCU is really kind of bleeding through on the other side. Now, there have been exceptions: Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, and I mentioned the others, but really people didn't latch on to how this is going, like I said, with the Eternals, with the Marvels, with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think that people just don't trust Disney at the moment, and so I agree with these low box office predictions. As I mentioned as I was reading the article, I honestly think that that guy was being optimistic. I don't think the movie is going to get to 200 million globally. I think that it's going to stay below 200 million. Now, I'm wanting to bet money on that, but that is just my feeling of it. And it just comes to play because apparently the original plan for Captain America 4 was they were going to show Steve Rogers return all the Infinity Stones like an Endgame before finally deciding to head and meet with Peggy Carter in the past, and that was going to be a film about him trying to convince her that it's him and that he's alive and he's not some evil clone, and then going on missions with, I guess it's the SSR before it finally turns into SHIELD, and that he was going to take a new identity, possibly as the US agent or nomad, something like that, and so people wouldn't be confused on the return of Captain America. Now, I think that if Marvel had done that rumored early concept of Steve Rogers trying to convince Peggy that he's back, trying to go on missions and accomplishing that, I think that would have been a really good movie. But they wanted to double down on this woke race swapping that they're doing with Falcon. And I think if Falcon and the Winter Soldier had been better, that they hadn't have tried to incorporate those identity politics, those political correctness into that story, I think people would be more excited for this film at least, but they didn't do that, and instead we have to have Sam try to empathize with a murdering terrorist, right? And he's trying to empathize with her, and he's all sad when she finally gets taken out, and oh, boo, do better, do better, do better. Like some college kid who just walked out of a lecture from some socialist from Europe. And supposedly, Captain America, when it was known as New World Order, that they were going to repeat the Do Better speech, but they cut it out and they changed the title to Brave New World. I don't know if that's true or not. That's the rumors that are going around. We do know that it was at one time called New World Order, and they changed the name because of the poor reaction to that title. Wherever the Winds take the box office, I do plan on seeing it just because I want to review it, I want to look at it, and I want to see where it goes. But let me know in the comments, are you excited for the new Captain America film? Are you excited to see Falcon fully take on the Shield, not just in some Disney Plus show, but in the broader MCU? Are you excited about it? Or do you feel the same way that I do, that it's just going to be another paint by numbers MCU post in-game slop? One final note, I think that if Disney and Marvel Studios had started making even their solo films more like Avengers films, I think that would have worked. So my example is Captain America Civil War, right? It didn't just have Captain America, it had all the characters he was connected to, several of the Avengers. I think they should have done that. So the next Iron Man movie, because there were always rumors of an Iron Man 4, which was going to be directed by and starring Mel Gibson as the antagonist. That, of course, didn't materialize. But I think that going forward, what they should do, or what they should have done, is make it where each one of those movies, even if it has the character's name, is an Avengers film. Like in Iron Man 3, for example, instead of just having Mark Ruffalo in cameo as Hulk, those characters could have been more involved with what he was doing. Maybe not all of them, because I know that kind of balloons the budget, because these narcissistic celebrities, they have to make over a certain amount or they cry. They should have done stuff like that. And I think that that would have pulled people in more. And then Avengers, it's more overlooking than it is focusing on another character, and the other characters are side characters. I think that that would have been the best way moving forward, but they didn't talk to me. They should have. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment and tell me what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you would be so kind, head over to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com. It's totally free and there are no ads. To sign up to get new articles that have reviews of television, film, anime, and so much more, you just have to type in your email address when the screen prompts you, or you can sign up with the WordPress app. And like I said, it's totally free, and I post at least once a day, and you're going to see all kinds of cool stuff. If you want to support the work that I'm doing, head on over to my locals community. The link is in the description of the video. You can sign up for a monthly subscription or send my articles tips. And let me tell you something, I really appreciate it when you do that. I post exclusive articles there, and also I exclusively publish my short stories there. Speaking of stories, I also have books published. I have the supernatural thriller Cacophony, about a group of demons that comes to a small town in Texas and they want to conquer it, but there's a group of angels sent to stop them. If you like fairy tales and sword and sorcery, check out the Seven Royal series. I've got All Good Things and Breaking the Stars. It's about a group of your favorite fairy tale characters who have to come together to stop an evil mage from conquering their homeland. And this is part 1 and part 2. And let me tell you, part 3 is on its way. I'm going to be making an announcement about that very soon. Last but definitely not least, I wanted to shout out my newest book, Blessed Child. It is a fantasy romance that follows an elf princess who has recently been widowed and discovers she is pregnant with her deceased human husband's baby, and the baby is human, sending the elf kingdom into turmoil. As a result, her father, the king of the elves, hires a disgraced knight who is on the path to redemption to protect her, and they form an unlikely friendship. So definitely get this one or the others or all 4 and leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.